Good morning, this is your AI host, Jay. I'm here with the automatically generated Journato morning headlines on March 16, 2022. Zelensky says Russia's position in negotiations is becoming more realistic as fears deepen for Mariupol. The Guardian, Ukraine war. Zelensky says peace talks more realistic as Russia struggles to conduct offensive. Evening Standard, The Times view on Ukraine's peace talks with Russia, stopping the war. The Times, Ukraine president says peace talks with Russia going pretty good. Daily Record, the reason for Ukraine's optimism over peace talks with Russia are unclear. Spain, call for return of stolen kit containing radioactive material. Denmark considers ban on cigarette sales to anyone born after 2010. Will Russia launch a cyber attack on the West? British law firms help oligarchs avoid legitimate media scrutiny, MPs told. The Guardian, calls for reform of England's libel laws to prevent abuse by wealthy litigants. Financial Times, Russian oligarchs using UK courts to bully news. Ukraine war forces Ireland to question its traditional neutrality. Sky News, Higgins remarks on Ukraine neutrality out of tune with reality. The Times, there will be a debate in Ireland on military neutrality, Taoiseach. The Independent, neutrality and the Constitution. The Irish Times, do we know what we mean by Ireland's traditional neutrality? Will PM's trip find a way to plug the energy gap? BBC, we cannot go on like this. The West must end its dependence on Vladimir Putin. The Telegraph, will PM's trip find a way to plug the energy gap? BBC.com, opposition to Putin must not lead the UK to appease equally repellent dictators. Boris Johnson rips up climate rulebook as he moves to replace Russian supply of oil and gas. Sky News, Boris Johnson's energy plans don't make any sense. The Independent, Prime Minister Boris Johnson confirms support for North Sea oil and gas industry. City AM, Boris Johnson struggles with balancing act as he walks energy tightrope. The Times, is Boris Johnson really going to bring back fracking? Putin's plane grab is largest single civil fleet destruction activity in the history of aviation. The Independent, Russia law raises stakes for lessors rushing to recover aircraft. Financial Times, Russian air travel could disappear as planes aren't serviced. Bloomberg, Russian airlines will keep planes leased from foreign firms. The Independent, Russian law creates new hurdle for foreign plane lessors. How concerning is it that COVID infections are rising in the UK? The Guardian, UK's COVID cases jumped by 77% in a week to soar past 100,000. Daily Mail, coronavirus infection rates, cases and deaths for all parts of Wales on Tuesday, March 15. Wales Online, North Wales records almost 1,000 new COVID cases as one more person dies. North Wales Live, take precautions plea as COVID rates surge in Stoke-on-Trent. What it would mean if Russia defaults on its debts for first time in 2 decades. The Independent, what to expect as Russia warns of historic debt default. Financial Times, Putin will default on foreign debt but he still has cash to fund the war. The Times, what would a Russia bond default look like? Bloomberg, probable Russian debt default unlikely to cause a global financial earthquake. Russian agents infiltrated Ukrainian base where 3 British Special Forces veterans feared dead. The Independent, 3 British ex-soldiers feared dead in Russian strike on Ukraine military base. The Telegraph, Russian drone entered Polish airspace. News. The Times, 3 British former Special Forces troops feared dead in Russian airstrike in Ukraine. Manchester Evening News, Russian missile strike near NATO's Poland stirs anxiety. Ban on wearing hijabs in Indian schools upheld in court. Sky News, India court in Karnataka upholds ban on hijabs in colleges. The Guardian, fury as High Court upholds ban on schoolgirls wearing hijab in southern India. The Telegraph, India hijab ban, High Court upholds controversial restriction for students. Bloomberg, Indian court upholds ban on hijab in schools and colleges in Karnataka. 3 EU prime ministers arrive by train in Kyiv as Russian attacks intensify. The Independent, Europe stands with you, EU leaders vow support for Ukraine during Kyiv visit. The Guardian, leaders of Poland, Czech Republic, Slovenia to visit Kyiv on Tuesday. Politico Europe, 3 EU leaders in surprise journey to Kyiv to show solidarity with Ukraine. The Independent, Russia-Ukraine war, early morning strikes hit Kyiv hours before peace talks. North Korea suspected missile fails after launch, says South Korea. The Guardian, North Korea fired possible missile which appeared to fail immediately after launch, says South Korea. The Independent, Seoul says North Korean projectile launch ends in failure. Cambridgeshire Live, North Korea missile test failed after launch, Seoul says. Boris Johnson going from dictator to dictator for oil, says Starmer. The Guardian, Boris Johnson to visit Saudi Arabia and UAE in bid to end West's addiction to Vladimir Putin's oil and gas. Sky News, PM to warn of far-reaching consequences of Russian invasion on Gulf visit. Gov. UK, Boris Johnson will have his work cut out in Saudi Arabia. The Telegraph, Boris Johnson's visit to Saudi Arabia is a trip too far, John Rental. Ukraine war, 20,000 flee Mariupol in biggest evacuation yet from besieged port city. Sky News, Ukraine war, infection and hunger as hundreds hide in Mariupol cellar. BBC, war in Ukraine, Russian troops take hundreds hostage in Mariupol hospital. The Times, Russian troops take patients and doctors hostage in Mariupol hospital. ITV News, Russian soldiers take patients and staff hostage at Mariupol hospital amid claim thousands dead in city. This was all for the news. Thanks for listening. Please do not forget to like and subscribe.